We are live. Welcome back to Unstructured Live. I'm your host. If you didn't know, this is Lion. Join by my co-host, Mr. E. We have a very special stream today. We're going to be reviewing Black Adam, as well as we're going to be talking about some other topics like the future of DC and the Henry Cavill announcement. But first things first, how are you, Mr. E?
Oh my gosh, I'm feeling amazing. How about yourself, Lion?
I'm feeling excellent. I had a great weekend.
Yeah.
Bittersweet because Sunday we had the final episode of House of the Dragon. We had a great time. By the way, shout out to Elliot at Movie Files for hosting me again, for his being part of his panel.
I caught some of the show. It was a really good show. You did your thing for real though.
Check out Movie Files. He has great content. He does great work over there. Huge, lots of great stuff over there. But we are not alone today. We are not alone. We have a special guest. We have a friend of the show with us today.
Is it who I think it is?
It might be the man who you think it is. That's right. So he's gonna be helping us talk about Black Adam and some of these topics today. He's none other than the man, the myth, the legend from the channel. And now your mama knows. The cowboy, the king.
That's right.
Here we go.
What's up, cowboy?
What's up, cowboy? Oh, man. Yo, guys, you brought me back on the show. The king of content is back. Guys, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here, bringing that energy. This was, listen, man. This was my most anticipated movie of the year because I love superpowered superheroes, not like Batman, but something.
Why you gotta hate on Batman?
Bro, I'm the biggest Batman hater. However, I really did like the Twilight Batman. It was dope.
Okay.
Dope. But what's up, guys? Thanks for bringing me back, man.
No, we promise. We promise to bring you back for the anniversary. We're still happening. We're just our schedules. He's been traveling. I've been traveling. Yeah. It's just been like trying to coordinate. It's been a little crazy.
It's been crazy. It's coming.
Shout out to Obi Rose Kenobi already.
What up, man?
He said no spoilers. Too bad. It's gonna be plenty of spoilers.
You might have to leave. Like now.
Come back halfway through it. Come back halfway through it.
Yeah. It's a lot to talk about.
Shout out to Holes. What's going on? Twilight Batman. Hey, no, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Hey, come on, bro. It wasn't Twilight Batman.
What's going on?
Listen, it's my favorite Batman. I'm gonna let me see. I'm still sharing. But go ahead, guys.
I have my feelings about that movie. I will talk about it in a minute. But let's start talking about this topic. We got one more comment. He said he really enjoyed Black Adam, and that's something we're gonna discuss today.
Yeah, that was good.
So I went this weekend on Saturday, I believe it was, to watch Black Adam. I know you watched it Saturday as well, Cowboy, or Friday.
I seen it Thursday.
Oh, you what? You didn't wait. That's what's up.
I'm a movie goer, bro. Like I got the movie pass, and usually it's funny. Usually they'll say come in on Friday, but the movie theaters have it on Thursday. So once I caught on to I feel like all the movies are really on Thursday, but they don't advertise it. I'm in there, baby.
Oh, it's good to know.
Yeah,
that's what's up. You got it. Mr. E got to see a chance to see it yesterday, so he has the freshest memory out of all of us on it.
Yeah,
but man, like I've been waiting for this movie, and this movie's been on the works for 15 years.
Why are you ragging on Batman? I see what's going on in the chats, man.
I didn't start nothing. Don't put that on me. I didn't start it.
So this movie's been in the works for 15 years. Like The Rock was offered, or he asked for this role many years ago. I really didn't think it was ever gonna come out because it was why it should take 15 years for this movie to be made, especially when the biggest movie star on the planet, the most electrifying man in entertainment right now, The Rock, is attached to the movie. Finally comes out. I think a lot of people were expecting it to flop flat out. Everybody was expecting it to flop, and I think the movie did very well. I had a great time in the movies. I enjoy. It wasn't. I'm not gonna tell you it was something that oh my god, it's the best movie I ever watched. But it was a good time at the movies. It was a popcorn movie. It's a movie you can sit down and enjoy. Even some of the jokes landed. I have to give him that.
Yeah.
Mystery, I'm gonna start with you. What was your impression on the movie?
Me and you have the same thought. It was a feel-good movie. I liked the theme and I liked the message, which we'll get into. I really loved what they were doing and how they approached things, and it just made you feel good. Like, it wasn't in depth like some of the other shows that we did. It's just entertaining as hell, funny, entertaining, amazing. What were your thoughts, Cowboy?
I gotta back up a bit. So y'all bothering me now. This one I'm gonna back up some years ago when Shazam came out. This is what got me hyped for this. And I didn't even really know if Rock was gonna officially be Black Adam. But when Shazam came out, and I was like, bro, Shazam looks silly. But Shazam was actually good. And they told the story in the beginning. There was one of them, the original, but he was bad and they banished him. And so my friend, my super comic book nerd friend was like, oh, that dude they're talking about is Black Adam. I'm like, all right, I don't know who he is, but he sounds super powerful after you see how powerful they was. Then I found out, oh, remember that dude we told you that they vaguely mentioned in Shazam? Guys, you listening, go back and watch Shazam. They talked about Black Adam in Shazam. So back then I was like, oh, so they was like, yeah, The Rock is gonna play him officially, and I was like, yo, because I was already interested in this story of this dark. What do they call the Shazams? Like, what are they
anti-hero? Shazam are mystical, like champions of the gods of the wizard.
So they mentioned that there was the first one was bad or whatever. He was super powerful. So they vaguely mentioned that in Shazam. If anybody go back, I
remember that part. Now that you say that specific part,
so I wanted to start there because my excitement was cool. Now let me just add on to this. About a year ago, 9 months ago, The Rock did an interview. He said the hierarchy of DC will change after Black Adam. I was like, is he trying to say he's going to be more powerful than Superman? So, again, I love super powerful. Yeah. I like super powerful characters, whether they're good or bad. So I was invested. He's supposed to be a bad guy. And I'm like you guys. Dude, it's a popcorn flick. The jokes landed. Action. Guys. I probably about 200 people died in this movie. Like, bro, he was killing people left and right. I thought that was cool for me because the jokes are cool, but I'm more into like the nitty gritty stuff. And I get it now. They're making everything for everybody, so you can take the kids, everybody. I get it, fine. But I mean, people's getting disintegrated. I mean, so I enjoyed the movie.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
No, the movie was great, and like I had no doubt that Rock was gonna star in it. And to pull up a comment from Holes asking if would you guys prefer Black Adam to come out before Shazam? I would say no. You either have to have Shazam first, or you have to have them both at the same time in the same movie. The only issue with that is that Zach Levy is more of a comedic actor. I don't think it would have been a good fit at that moment because you have to establish them separately. That was the right call. I mean, even The Rock did not want Shazam in Black Adam because I believe there were talks about that and they didn't want it. He did want Superman in the movie. He wanted Henry Cavill in it, and I do believe they wanted Henry Cavill in Shazam, but they declined to have him because Warner Brothers wanted nothing to do with Henry Cavill after the flop that was Justice League. And you know, this movie being in the works for over 15 years, to me it was like, man, I don't know if this is ever gonna. It was like the Flash movie. They being around the same time. I don't think it's ever gonna come out. But and even with the cast, I was like, man, they're gonna add the JSA, the Justice Society of America. What does that have to do with Shazam? To me, it was like, I don't know if this is really gonna land well. I was kind of worried about the movie. And then when the critics came out, you know, just bashing the movie. But the audiences redeemed it. 90% in the audio score. People are really having a good time. They go to the movies. You get lost, and it's a long movie. And I enjoyed it. Like I had no problem sitting there for 2.5 hours, however long that was. I would have even want another hour. I wanted more. I wanted more about those characters. I love Hawkman. I love Dr. Fate. I wanted more from those characters.
Yeah, the casting was great.
That's something that me and Ryan were talking about. Like, they have an all-star cast. Each one of these characters individually have had big TV shows or big movies by their own. I mean, obviously, The Rock. You have Sarah Sahi. Forgive me if I mispronounce the name. Pierce Brosnan. You know, classic. Quintessa. She was on Euphoria, which just like changed the whole scope. Yeah,
Wait,
she was on Euphoria. She changed the whole scope of TV on HBO, in my opinion.
Oh, man.
And you know, you have Jennifer Holland, who was on Peacemaker. You have Aldous Hodges, amazing actor. He's on another show based out of Boston. I forget the name. Muhammad, who's a comedian.
Leverage. He was on Leverage, and he was on a show that I love.
Yes.
It was. I forgot the name
and
of this
there's
show.
There's another show based out of Boston in the '90s that's on Paramount or one of them right now. It's really, really good with Kevin Bacon. And you have Muhammad, who's a comedian, super funny, has his own show on Netflix, and of course Viola Davis, Oscar-winning Viola Davis. I mean, all-star cast. Like, how could they say that this movie was not a great movie? Period. It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
The story had its flaws.
The story had its flaws, but it was entertaining. Go ahead.
Like, I think one of the critics said, "How you gonna have a prison and then you have the instructions how to release the guy from the prison written on the door? Come on, like, how you gonna do that?" Like, there were
no. But the thing is, he had the thing in his mouth, so technically he wasn't able to speak it, right? So they made sense. Like, all you had to do was speak it, but it didn't matter because he couldn't speak it.
No, that I'm not talking about the water prison. I'm talking about he's sealed when the wizard sealed him.
Okay.
He's sealed in a mystical prison, and the instructions on the words to speak to release him from the prison were around the door. When she speaks, that's how he's released. Like, how you gonna have a prison? You want this very all-powerful creature not to escape.
Maybe back then the guards was actually trusted.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Nowadays, you be like, bro, you know you can't leave a key right there. But back then, it probably was like, no, they probably guarded it with their life.
The other thing that I think the kid in the movie, the son of the female character, I didn't enjoy his participation as much. I think it was a little too much. Like, they were pushing him really hard to be like the guiding light for Black Adam. I think we could have done without that.
He didn't quite have it. He's still young. He didn't quite have it, in my opinion. I agree with you. Go ahead.
I think he did a good job. I think I think Black Adam could care less about everybody, but he had this thing. The reason why that kid was important because it reminded him of his son. So when they flipped the twist, you know what I'm saying? He was like, oh, and I think that's why the kid was very important. But if you're saying like maybe his acting, or I think he did a good job. But here's my issue. And maybe you guys gotta enlighten me. Is Hawkman just some dude in a suit? Because how the hell was he getting hit the way he was, and how did he not die off the first punch?
So that was my first question. So Hawkman, which let me actually put a picture. Mysterio will be right back. He's fixing his lighting. He has some issues there. I actually have a little thing because that was one of probably my favorite character aside from Black Adam, of course, in the movie was Hawkman, and I was feeling kind of weird about him when I heard the casting, but to me, like, I want a whole movie. I want a TV show or something about this guy. So the story of Hawkman, there's two different versions. You have the Hawkman that is a spirit, an Egyptian spirit of that it lives forever, and it reincarnates every so many years. And that's the Hawkman who has mythical powers, has the wings, and there's two of them: Hawkman, Hawkgirl. Okay. Then you have the alien Hawkman, come from a race of aliens that kind of want to invade the Earth, and he comes in and he's supposed to be like a spy or something. You have those two different stories. This guy is a combination of both, based on what I read in the description. So he's able to take those hits. He has some kind of mythical spirit.
Okay, all right, I'm cool.
Going within him. That's basically what it is about with this Hawkman. But I think he did a good job. I think Aldous Hodge did an amazing job portraying Hawkman in this movie. The JSA was so good, especially watching Pierce Brosnan, one of my favorites, James Bonds, as Dr. Fate. He did a really great job.
Really great job.
I was disappointed with some of the decisions that were made. I kind of wanted more out of his character, especially knowing the backstory of Dr. Fate and that helmet. Some of the stuff that happened, like, okay, that doesn't go what I know of this character. How do you feel about Hawkman, Doctor Fate, Cyclone, and Atom Smasher? In your opinion, how do they feel about it?
I thought Dr. Fate. I was a big fan of Pierce Brosnan. Like he was one of my favorite Bonds, right? So seeing him
Agreed.
older, I was all on board, right? So Dr. Fate, just his poise, how he's soft spoken, the way he was, because he pretty much know everything, right? So he nailed it for me. I don't know too much about the Tempesta or whatever her name was.
Cyclone. I think they just made it up for the show. I'm not familiar.
Okay.
The only Cyclone that I know is a cyborg, and he's like it's called Red Cyclone. I think it's believed in. And I don't know this particular Cyclone. I think that's
Okay.
just for the movie.
So I thought her powers was cool, but for me, if you could have said one of them had to go and wasn't in it, she didn't play that much of a significant role for me. I think Atom Smasher was cool, but he was pretty much had that feel like if they wanted him to be Deadpool too much. I mean, he looked like him. So I was like, dude, y'all trying too hard. But and then until you told me with Hawkman, I thought he was cool. I loved his look. I loved his personality. I like how gritty he was. I like how he didn't back down from Black Adam. So that made it really good. But I just was wondering why he didn't die off the first hit, because I thought he was just human. But you kind of cleared that up for me. So
no, I mean Hawkman has a good legacy. I mean Hawkman in the comics, he's very strong. He's like he's a very tough hero in the comics, and they did a good job portraying him here. They had a different representation of this character in one of the CW shows, but if you know the CW shows, they're just very disappointing overall.
Yeah,
portrayal. So
I like Smallville.
Smallville, that's like old school CW. If we talk about the new school CW, the Arrowverse,
you talking about Arrow? Yeah, I didn't watch none of that.
I can't.
I checked when Smallville went off the air. I went off the air.
I mean, like the first couple of seasons of The Flash were good, and the first couple of seasons of Arrow were good. Everything else after that is just being downhill. I don't know if you guys agree. If you guys are watching,
no, agreed. It's all like B movie stuff or whatever, without the graphical content. It's just nah. It's all good. But the whole Deadpool comparison is kind of true. He looks exactly like Deadpool,
and I feel like he was trying to sound like him too.
You're right. Now that you bring it up, like like that part, yeah.
You know what's funny? Atom Smasher normally is represented as a villain in the comics. He does switch sides from time to time, and they used him as a hero this time around. The last presentation I've seen of him is as a villain, as an opposite. I think they could have used the Atom as another character that could be part of the JSA. And these are not the regular, except for Dr. Fate, these are not the normal characters you see in the JSA. You normally in the JSA have Dr. Fate, you have Minutemen, you have Jay Garrick, you have the Lantern. And those are the ones that that are part of the show. The cat will be right back, folks. Let me actually put him back here. So now I wanted to ask you, Mystery, what did you thought about the villain of the movie?
The villain of the movie? Are you talking about the god that came in at the end, or are you talking about the uncle that turned on them?
The uncle that turned on them.
The one who actually he actually ended up turning into a god. So sorry. The
same guy, Mystery.
Yeah, I forgot, because it's like, yo, how could your uncle do that? Or the guy that they knew or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I thought that he was good. I knew that he wasn't dead when the boulder fell on him in a cave. Overall, I thought that plot line was pretty good because I wasn't able to piece it together of exactly. I knew that he had some connection, but I didn't know that he was it as far as the bloodline to the king, and I didn't understand how he would soon become that God King. You might remember the name, but that part I thought was entertaining, and to see him just blow up and become that super villain that Adam had to take on. That was intense. I love the fighting scene. What were your thoughts, Lion?
Yeah, like the villain. He came at the end, and I think he was dispatched fairly quickly. I think that was a minus on the movie, in my opinion. That's one of the detriments of it.
Mhm.
It's basically like I feel like he was a made up villain for the movie. The JSA were better antagonists to Black Adam, and I'm happy how they used them because on the first part of the movie you have the JSA being the ones, trying to stop Black Adam, followed by having this superpower opposite to Black Adam being the one, and still he was dispatched fairly easily at the end, uh, taking everything into account. I was just asking a mystery cowboy, what
Mhm.
were his thoughts on the villain of the movie?
Obi, I got you. It's all good. Go ahead, Cowboy.
Wow. I mean, so what's cool is I don't know much about his comic book, right? Or his story arc and all of that. So, I felt like he's so powerful they need somebody to match him, right? So this guy definitely didn't match him, right? Um, I don't know. I think he had a cool look. For some reason, for whatever reason, I just wasn't so into
No.
that villain. He didn't like. He was. I think he was good, but I feel like for some reason I wasn't invested in the villain. I feel like
It was too
it
quick,
was
right?
it was too. Yes, you just took the. I was about to say that it was too quick. Like he just was like you barely heard anything about him at all, and then it was like, hey, this is who the main bad guy is, and it was
Yeah,
like,
this
oh,
guy was literally trying to be the most opportunistic guy the whole movie, right? He pretends to be good. He tries to steal the crown, and then towards the end, all of a sudden, he becomes the most powerful thing. For the last 10 minutes, he gets destroyed. So I hate when movies grab
right,
when there's such rich history in the DC comics of great villains. So many they can pick so many villains, so many antagonists, and I know they weren't sure about this property, how well it was gonna do. That's probably why they had this particular villain made up for it. But it was a guy that he's such a powerful guy opposite to Black Adam.
right.
He got done fairly quick.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
So I'll agree with you guys on that one. He definitely did. And here's to piggyback on your statement and to pile on, I guess. Like Black Adam gave up, he surrendered, right? And I won't say how, we'll get into that later. He surrendered. Then they basically put him in prison, whatever.
water
And
prison,
then they were like, "Oh, we need you for the last 10 minutes and whatnot." Y'all could have left him out, and this never would have happened. But so that's the one criticism. However, I still think that it still was good, a good movie. I really enjoyed it. It was good to be out at theaters and watch the show. What were you guys' thoughts on them putting Black Adam away and then freeing him?
It was go ahead, Cowboy.
I was okay with that because here's my thing. When I watch a movie, this is what I would rather. I would rather you got a really good hero, you got a really good bad guy. And I always say this. I think the best movie formula I've seen was Van Damme Cyborg, right? You have this really good protagonist, you had a really good bad guy. They eventually meet up. There's no way in hell that the good guy could beat the bad guy. It's made clear. So then you got to redeem yourself or come back and be able to overcome the bad guy, have your climactic clash. So for me, because The Rock or Black Adam never met up with this super bad villain until the end, for me, his redemption or comeback was from the prison. So he gives up, put me in a prison, put him in a prison, and then the movie turns to like, oh wait, we need him, and now he get to redeem himself. So for me, like the fact that they needed him, Dr. Fate knew, like, bro. So for me, I was okay because it gave me that, when you watch something, you like, oh, like I got that. Okay, it gave me that feeling for him that like he was down, right? So far, nothing could defeat him, nothing could stop him. They would have fought all day, right? But it was like, damn, he's done. And now you got your feeling like, oh, the redemption. Oh, he's back. Because that was the only thing that could give you that feeling. So that's why I was okay with that.
I'm glad you brought that point because I think that was the way they used it was very smart. Because if nothing, if the story wasn't geared in the way they made it, the whole prison thing would have fallen flat. Yes. I like that. There's two things that the play a big part in the movie. One of those was the statue of the hero in the center of the city. that kind of resembles The Rock, right? And then you had the prison. So throughout the whole movie, the first thing that we see is the kid that revolts, becomes a hero, and we are made to believe the events happen in a particular way. So you go to the movie not even thinking there might be some kind of twist on it. Then halfway through it, like you see him staring at the statue so much, and the statue looked just enough like him, but not quite. But not quite. Even when you looked at it, like, well, I guess they couldn't. They tend to make it realistic that these sculptures are gonna make an exact copy of The Rock, and then we learn why that is, and that is when the twist happened. That's what we noticed, that the lightning bolt in his chest was dark with a little bit of gold. That's because he didn't feel worthy of the powers. He didn't feel like he was a hero. He didn't feel he was living up to what his son's standard was. And then at the end, when he finally gets that message from Dr. Fate and he wakes up and he talks to his son in his dream, that's when he comes back. I think that's the scene that I had on screen. And you see the golden lightning bolt. He now has become a hero, not just a full anti-hero. He's gonna save Kanda. He's gonna save everybody. He's gonna take care of the bad guy. I like how they did that. That twist made the movie much more enjoyable. I think missing something like that, it would have been a movie that you could have just dismissed very easily.
I agree.
Now the other thing, what?
Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time, Obi. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Obi. See you later, man.
Go ahead, Lion. What were you going to say?
No, so the other thing that this movie did for The Rock is this is the biggest opening weekend for The Rock ever as a leading man. This movie in the opening week, he made $67 million domestically and $124 million globally. If my numbers are accurate, last time I saw them, I think it's a little more now. Nice. But that's not, when we think about blockbuster movies, a lot of the times we think about these movies like the Superman movies, the Batman movies, the Avengers that are doing 150, 200 million in a weekend. But not every movie is going to be like that. This is not the worst opening. This is not the best opening. It's right in the middle. Is it going to be a movie that's going to make $1 billion like some of the other superheroes movies have made?
10 years down the road. No.
But if we look at this one other movie that had an opening weekend just the same as this one, and went on within a year to make $8 billion, and that's Aquaman. Aquaman made $67.1 million in the opening weekend, and he went on to make $8 billion later on. So he has a chance. I'm not saying this movie needs to make $1 billion to be a success and get a sequel. Yeah. But I think if he does better than Shazam, which Shazam made about $450 million, I think this will be a success and we'll get a sequel about it. What do you guys think of those numbers?
I think that's huge. What are your thoughts, Cowboy?
I think I so see Aquaman. I mean, so everything was put together right for Aquaman, right? From casting him, right? I mean, perfect, right? The gritty looking Aquaman, to do special effects with water, blah, blah, blah. Story was good. It all put together pretty good, feel good movie. This, I feel like the issue this might have is Aquaman is a more well-known character. I don't have to explain to you who Aquaman is, but I have to explain to you who Black Adam is, right? Yeah. So, okay. Now I might have to explain to some people who what's his name that played as Aquaman?
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa was, but I don't have to explain to you who The Rock is. So, I think because Black Adam, the IP itself isn't like uber popular.
He's never been in the forefront, and this is the first time he's on the forefront of anything.
Right.
And I think that. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So as far as the numbers, I think what it did was good.
Go ahead, Cowboy.
No, just as far as the numbers to finish it up, I think the numbers it did was pretty good for what it was, right? And again, I think Lion hit the nail on the head. He's never been in the forefront. I like to say it was popular. He just wasn't a popular character. So now you have the chance to write him in and use an actor that's popular and see where it goes. So.
Yeah, Lion knows me, and I'll explain this to the rest of the fans. Like, you guys are deeper into the comics, deeper into the DC universe than me. So forgive my ignorance, but I think that because of the fact that Black Adam is not as well known, they were able to put current narrative, like they were able to put today's narrative sort of into it, whereas where it was like nobody's inherently bad or good. You know, the anti-villain, yes, but it was more like, you know, you're in a different land and you didn't care about us. So you see where
Right.
the tone, yeah, this ain't your world. Y'all ain't never been here till Black Adam showed up, so on and so forth. So go ahead and do what you do. We'll handle it over here. And the Justice League, correct me if I got the wrong name.
Society.
They had to say, you know what, you're right. We never really did care about you guys until Black Adam came, and you know, over time, towards the end of the movie, they're like, okay, we're going to play by your rules. You know, there isn't everybody's super good or super bad or whatever. There could be some in between, and I thought that was a recurring theme over and over and throughout the movie. What were your thoughts on it, Cowboy?
I think that was cool. So if I jump over to something else, what I thought was really cool was I watched Miss Marvel. I heard it was going to be bad. I heard it was bad. So when I finally watched it, one thing I thought was really cool was I love when another culture that, like America, right? We figure like, oh, you know, black and white is popular, right? And it's like, how cool was it that was about an Indian heritage, right? So I thought, how cool was Black Adam that this isn't your United States. This is a whole different heritage that's being, you know, that they're putting on display. And exactly. So that was cool for me. Now it doesn't mean like I'm not gonna get all into it, but my family's from Jamaica, right? We're not from the United States, but at the end of the day, I was born here, right? Yeah, I was born here, right? So
I love Jamaica, man.
Yeah, man. So I was born here, yeah, man, and I was born here. So, but I look at stuff like that, and I'm like, wow, they didn't have to write it that way, right? But the director said, yo, let's make this what you're saying, mystery, that this is from another land, and the heroes are like, oh, we're the heroes, we got this, and the people are like, nah, where's y'all at? And that dynamic was really good. Really good.
That was a good point. This is the thing that DC does with their movies. This is why I like DC. Well, people love Marvel. I enjoy DC more because I feel, although they're grabbing a fantasy dream of a superhero, they're grounded in reality. Like we have Man of Steel. Like, you know, somebody with that much power, people are gonna be afraid of it. Batman versus Superman. The aftermath of what happened when somebody does powerful, fights in a real world. People are dying. People are gonna get destroyed. People are gonna be afraid of him. People are gonna have an issue with them. And in this part, you have the heroes coming into contact, which is being like a place that everybody forgot about, that's being run by some kind of private military. And no, where were you guys when we needed you? Now that we have a hero, now you want to show up and bring peace and freedom to us. Come on.
What does that sound like? We won't get into that. Go ahead.
We won't touch that.
Third rail. Touch it.
DC bringing that reality to things. It's always been one of my favorite parts. This was a lighter film compared to what they normally do. And I think that's why the reception has been so it's been so well received by people. But this is something that I think was key to making this movie grounded and allowing people to connect to it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very inclusive, very self-aware, and it also, like you said, Cowboy, it shed light on a different culture. Like, you know, everything. You look at all the American movies that we've seen, and even some in Europe. It's mostly based in like America, Europe, or like some Western style city, like Japan or something like that. You know, I know they got the Eastern culture or whatever, but not Japan, but Tokyo, more specifically, something like that or whatever. This was completely grounded and based out of, even though it was a fictitious country, it was Middle East based, and it gave, shout out to all the actors. Most of the actors, the extras, were Middle Easterner. I know that Sarah, she's of Middle Eastern descent, I believe from Iran, but she was born and raised in the U.S., I believe. But this was a different take, and I think that's why people responded so well, is because it was different and it was good too. I thought that was huge.
No, exactly. I mean, sorry, I was trying to put up a graphic here to unblock my screen. So, with that said, I think when we look at the cast of characters, we have the JSA with Dr. Fate, Atom Smasher, Cyclone, Hawkman, which was my favorite, and then Shazam. We have a story that they bring some kind of reality to it, making it in a place that's been forgotten. And then we have a good old, probably the main star was the action. From the beginning of the movie, we have explosions, a lot of fighting, a lot of conflict, powers, the works. You got the superhero experience in this movie, and I think that's what I enjoyed the most. Like, I normally sometimes on these movies, there's too much talking, and you don't see the demonstration of how powerful these heroes are, and get to live out that fantasy on the screen. And they did not disappoint with this particular movie. So that's probably my favorite part of the movie, was the action of it. What was you guys' favorite part? I'm gonna start with you, Mystery. What was your favorite part of it?
I'll let Cowboy go. Go ahead, man.
Cowboy, what's your favorite part? There you go.
Bro, I'm not one, like, I like comedy, but I don't really want my comedy mixed in. Can I say something real quick as I go into this? I said the other day that I think my fear is coming true. My fear was when Disney purchased Marvel, I was like, it was a joke with me and our friends. Disney, what are we gonna have? Mickey Mouse in there? Because we were thinking like Disney is not a serious company. We were wrong. Like, whoa, Iron Man, they had some serious stuff. And my fear is where we're going, and all the shows is everything's watered down now. Everything's more made, a kid could watch everything, and that bothers me a little bit. But Black Adam snuck in my seriousness and my violence, like him grabbing people up and disintegrating them, and you see their bones. I'm like, yo, did that just happen? Like when he's flying through and smashing somebody on like a hover bike or whatever, you knew like he died. So it was clear, like, it was like, so action definitely was at the forefront of this for me. I loved, again, characters with really, really powerful characters. And man, he was so powerful. And he's moving so fast. It almost looked like he teleported at times. I mean, he's punching human beings like so hard. You're like, he died. Like, so the action was amazing for me.
That one part when he's like, we need the witness. He throws the guy in the air. He didn't make it. I normally don't laugh at this type of jokes. I normally don't. And he got me. I don't know if it was the timing. I don't know if because it's The Rock. He just did so well on that.
Hey, Cowboy, nail on the head. Didn't it feel like we were watching something from the night?
Yeah.
Mystery, did I lose you, or can you guys hear me? Or
I can hear you. I think we can't hear Mystery.
Hello?
We lost you for a second.
So it felt amazing to watch that, to see the instant event and reaction, that whole thing. Somebody would shoot Black Adam or whatever, and then Black Adam would throw him into the sea. And somebody would shoot him and he throw a boulder on him or something like that. Or just like you said, all that action was absolutely amazing from the jump. And not only did he have like the big fight out in like the first scene and all that other stuff, but he had multiple fights in his own town, was destroying his entire town, hence the anti-hero theme or whatever, because you're destroying property now, so that's an issue in these shows nowadays or whatever. He was destroying everything, and it didn't matter, and people still loved him up to a certain point, and it just was good old-fashioned fun. It was something of what we used to watch for sure.
Man, those movies back in the 90s were I don't know what it is, but there was some kind of magic to it. I know it's because there was less social pressure on what they made. They were great. I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. Yeah. We can do a stream. We can do a show about that. We want to do
Wouldn't that be good?
some retro streams talking about some of the stuff in the past.
Oh my
But
gosh,
if you are watching
that's a
this,
theme. That's a theme. Yep, I got a few ideas.
If you're watching this, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for choosing to being with us. Before we move on to what's going on?
Are you about to end the show?
No.
Oh,
I like to greet.
I know it's something we ain't talking about. All right.
Before we move on to the next topic, I do want to know one thing from both of you guys.
Forever. Go ahead.
Cowboy, from 1 to 10, what is your rating for this movie?
So you know me, I actually review every movie I see, and so I used to do pre-recorded videos where I love editing. I cut it up. I put pieces of trailers in it. What I do is I rate it on 3 things. I do my the story, my expectations, and entertainment. Right. So and I do 0 out of 3 cowboy emojis. So for this, but now what I'm doing is
how many cowboy hats this guys?
So yeah, I'm kind of trimming the fat on my channel, and now I'm just merging my movie reviews into my live stream. So I did it live, and I'm just doing 1 to 10 now, making it more simple, easy for people to grasp. I gave this a 7. I liked it a lot, but me personally, if you want to wow me, strip out some of the comedy. The comedy, I get it, but it's not for me, right? It's not for me. It's for the mass audience, so you can bring your kids as well, and they'll enjoy it. For the older people, it's for the non-comic book fans, so they could laugh and say, hey, this was a good movie, and I love that. I love it. They can make more money. They found a niche. Kudos to them. I think Transformers, for me, was the first movies that broke that code. The first Transformers live action that came out, they had this comedic element and big blockbuster, and it was like, oh, this kind of works. So, but I say that to say this, I give it a 7 because I could have did without some of the jokes. I personally could have wanted the villain to be more impactful. He didn't mean enough to me, right? A good hero needs a good villain, and so if you got to nail it, right? So that they just didn't nail. So yeah, so I give it a 7.
Mystery, what do you rate this movie? What do you rate it?
I will give it an 8. Because sort of what Cowboy said, the villain could have been a little bit better. However, I do love just the Rock story, aka Black Adam's story. I love his story because it wasn't straightforward. It had a lot of things going on that were revealed later on, and he had a struggle within himself. So I enjoyed it. What were your thoughts, Lion?
So as someone who I love the animated movies, the comics, I read comics all the time, but the few comics that I read, just a couple of them have been from Shazam, and having knowledge of this character, only known this character as a villain, seen in this different light. Even the last animated movie I watched, which was Shazam Superman versus Black Adam, which shows you how strong Black Adam is. As The Rock mentioned, Black Adam is the most powerful force in the planet, while Superman is the most powerful force in the universe. So he kind of puts the power levels there, so you know how strong Superman is compared to Black Adam. Coming into this movie, I'm a huge fan of The Rock from wrestling. Like, that's already gonna be a plus. The action had me hooked. Just bring it.
So
the action had me hooked on it. I normally don't like comedy, these type of movies, like you, Cowboy, but the comedy landed with me.
They did.
It had me laugh. I normally, I watch a Marvel movie and they have this cheesy comedy. I'm like, can we stop? Can we just not do this? This is terrible. This is the worst comedy possible in the superhero movies. The few one-liners in this movie, you had to laugh. It was good. I'm gonna give this movie with all that said, the villain was weak. I never felt they were really in peril. You have to have an iconic villain. You have to have the hero really struggle, not because he voluntarily decided to take himself out, right? We need to have the hero really struggle and struggle to the point that he finds a way. It's like when that baby face is in the ring and he's getting beat up. When he does that comeback, that's when the crowd's gonna cheer. So we were missing that. He never had that he just had to find himself. I guess that's basically what he did. He found himself. Okay, I'm gonna slap this guy around, and that was pretty much it. So the villain and the kid didn't really connect with me. I think the kid felt forced. He had too many scenes in the movie that were necessary. Like, it just makes no sense. Why is your mother letting you hang out with this on the streets? That's super dangerous. I'm trying to find, holding something that's evil. It's just a lot of stuff that didn't connect with me. I'm giving this movie an 8 because the jokes did land for me. The Rock and the action was front and center. So that movie's gonna be an 8. If you guys are watching, you can score the movie right in the comments.